Hi everyone and welcome to our English channel, English Acquiring. Okay, all right. Yes, today in this video we'll be talking about a beautiful, a good, fertile, a prolific topic. Yes, perspectives. What is perspective? It is really uh, a good field to improve our English and to be able to speak. Yes. Uh, for example, how do we see? Yes. How do we see a situation? If, for example, somebody steals the property of someone else, and we are a detective. Yes, if you were a detective, for example, from which perspective do you examine this case? From the perspective of the victim, the owner of the property, or from the perspective of the thief or the mugger? Yes, of course, what we need is always a true, a right, a just perspective. Yes, in questions, for example, can you tell me your perspective? What can you say about your perspective on life? Or what is your perspective in life? Now, this time, the message of the question changes. Yes, what's your perspective in life? But what is your perspective on life in general? Just like saying, what's your perspective on this situation, on economy, on the existing educational program, etc., etc. Yes, now, of course, it is not definite. It is not uh, strict that a person has only one perspective. So we really need uh, multiple perspective. We really need multiple perspectives to evaluate, to observe the events and happenings and the things, objects around us. Okay. Yes, I am sure there are beautiful and useful videos or articles, books about perspective, and there are also beautiful mottos on YouTube. For example, we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. Yes, we see them from the perspective of ourself. Yes, what is perspective? Perspective is a mental view. Yes, I like this explanation. It's an explanation from a dictionary, and I liked it very much. Yes, perspective is a mental view. So we see with our outer eyes, we hear with our outer ears, but we evaluate them. Uh, we observe them, we describe them according to our mentality. Yes. So while asking a question, for example, what's your perspective on learning at home, for example? What's your perspective on online education? But what's your approach to or towards online education? What's your approach? Yes, what's your attitude? Attitude to or towards online education? Okay, yes. But we can say also, may I learn? Yes, may I learn your outlook on? May I learn your point of view, viewpoint, vantage point, perspective on online education? But as for attitude and approach, we use the preposition to or towards. Yes. May I learn your attitude towards online education? May I learn your approach to online learning? Okay. Now, viewing nature and happenings around us from a concrete perspective by ChatGPT. This is a small paragraph generated by ChatGPT. Yes, about or on or connected with concrete perspective, not abstract but concrete, that is visible. Okay, in a concrete perspective, nature and events are observed with precision, definiteness, focusing on tangible, objective details. Clarity defines the scene, and our understanding relies on observable facts and straightforward realities, which are here fact and reality means which are seen, which are touchable. Yes. Now another paragraph on a physical perspective, just like concrete perspective. Our perspective of nature and events stems from our physical viewpoint. Through our senses, we observe the world, interpreting its beauty and occurrences, forming a tangible, again, concrete connection with our surroundings. Now, viewing nature and happenings around us from a scientific perspective by ChatGPT, when we look through a scientific perspective, we observe nature's intricacies or complexities and events, unraveling, untangling the mysteries with empirical, experimental analysis. Curiosity replaces wonder as we methodically, systematically look to understand our surroundings through precision and inquiry objectively. Now, viewing nature and happenings around us from an abstract perspective by ChatGPT, from a subjective perspective, from an artistic perspective, yes. Through an abstract lens, nature and events morph into a dance of shapes and colors, transcending realism. Interpretation becomes subjective, fostering a surreal connection between observer and the inexplicable or mysterious, mystifying between observer and the mysterious, mystifying by mystifying. Okay, let me read from the point. Interpretation becomes subjective, fostering a surreal connection between observer and the inexplicable, mysterious, mystifying. Yeah, the makes them plural. Yes, the mystifying objects, things, events, yes, etc. And we will read two more paragraphs written by ChatGPT at the end of the video. Okay. Now the image says certain perspective, positive outlook, positive view. Yes. Positive view, positive perspective, positive outlook, positive perspective. Yes, these are all the same. Of course, there are some nuances. Perspectives, yes. Perspective is a mental view. Yes, we see the events and objects through the eyes of our mind. Isn't it also a way of considering situations? Yes, it is also a way of regarding or considering situations, evaluating situations. Yes, it is also it also has that meaning. Yes, so it is important from where we look at, we view, from which point do we see, do we view in perspectives? Okay. Now there are, of course, lots of perspectives. Maybe we, for example, we have been talking about innumerable many topics, and we will go on talking about some more topics in the future, and I think all of them requires a perspective. Yes, for example, scientific perspective, emotional perspective, behavioral perspective, yes, cognitive perspective, mindful perspective, emotional perspective, so on and so forth. Yes. Would you like to view the nature and happenings around us from a scientific perspective, from an artistic perspective, or from an ethical perspective? Why? Of course, I would view the nature and happenings around us from all the scientific perspective and the artistic perspective and the ethical perspective. They are all connected with us, and we are always in need of their knowledge. After drinking a glass of water by half, an optimist always says that the glass is half full. Does a pessimistic say the glass is half full or half empty in the same situation? Of course, it is very famous that a pessimist says the glass is half empty because of his or her pessimism. Oh, water, I bet we'll get to drink it. The pessimist says drinking pollutes, postpones death, but doesn't avert it. Okay. Optimism is a tendency to believe that always good things will happen. What is pessimism? So let's make use of the example sentence. Optimism is a tendency to believe that always negative, bad, evil things will happen. What is idealism based on? I think idealism is based on all science, art, aesthetics, ethics. Yes, idealism is based on all the pure sources of knowledge. Yes. Responses to events can be multifaceted. Yes, can be multifaceted. They say when an optimist falls into the river by accident, he or she starts to have a bet. What may a pessimist do? Of course, as far as we know, a pessimist starts complaining about the situation. What may a realist do? Yes, it is clear that a realist take that situation realistically, seriously, and tries to get out of that situation, and then he or she can have a bet in that river if he or she wants or wants not. Okay, yes, realistic, conventional, enterprising, social perspective, artistic, and investigative perspective. Okay. Innovative perspective, conventional perspective. These are really beautiful expressions, yes. ChatGPT, will you please complete the dialogue? If you have a global view on a topic, you consider a lot of sides of it. How do you behave if you have a narrow view on a topic? So, let's read ChatGPT's answer first. If you have a narrow view on a topic, your understanding is limited to a specific details. it's important to recognize these limitations and to be open to exploring broader perspectives for a more comprehensive understanding. So if we have a narrow perspective, we don't make use of, or we lack the understanding. We don't have the understanding of reaching uh, sophisticated understanding. Okay. Okay, I think it's enough. If I wrote a story, I would write it from a child's perspective. Would you write a story from a child's or an adult's perspective? Of course, I would write a story from an adult's perspective. Maybe I can also include the perspective of a child in that story as well. Okay. Uh, Best books told, which are told from a child's perspective. A story from a child's perspective, yes, from a child's perspective, from a doctor's perspective, from a father's perspective, from a teenager's perspective. This is really useful usage of the word perspective. It is also an umbrella term. Yeah. Okay, separate into separate. So separate as a verb, separate as an adjective. So separate anything into its specific elements or components, component parts. Yes. Separating. This is analyzing. Yes. Okay. Combine information in a new form. This is synthesizing. Okay. If you have a rational viewpoint, if you have a rational perspective, if you have a rational outlook, if you have a rational point of view or viewpoint, you reason an issue. Yes, you reason, you question an issue. You also have critical thinking, right? Yes, of course, we also have a critical thinking when we have a rational viewpoint. When do we compare, analyze and synthesize information? Yes, we analyze and synthesize information to understand a topic, a subject well. Yes, sometimes we separate that information into its specific elements to get information about the details, and sometimes we want to see it as a whole. So we synthesize information to see the big picture. Yeah, okay. Analysis and synthesis are the two methods of acquiring knowledge. Yes. Or using knowledge. And of course, acquiring new knowledge. The customer's perception is your reality. Yeah. It is your reality that while, of course, you are selling something, uh, how customer sees you is essential. So you should consider the customer's perception about you. If an experience is an eye-opener for us, it teaches us new facts about life. How does it affect our perspective? So it especially experience usually affects our perspective deeply. Experiencing is the best way of learning something new. Now, a life-changing experience. Yes, starting a business, of course. Yes, starting a business is a life-changing experience. What else is a life-changing experience? Graduation, starting school, starting university, starting college is also a life-changing experience. Traveling, for example, yes, a challenge is also with its minuses and pluses. A challenge is also a life-changing experience. How does a life-changing experience affect our outlook on life? A life-changing experience affects very much our perspectives, our priorities. Yes, after a life-changing experience, we may prioritize something. Yes. Okay, and of course, it can contribute to our personal growth. And we may start valuing something in a new and more fruitful method after a life-changing experience. Now, this is really interesting. Which perspective is the best about a duck? It's just a food, for example. Alex, for example, says that it's just a food. Of course, it is good. It is good to say that a duck is a source of food for us. B, it's not just a food, but also a friend. Yes, we sometimes look at it and observe a duck and we notice its design, its colors, and we sometimes smile and our eyes are pleased with its beauty. So this is better than, of course, the first one is also good, but B is better than A. So it's not, but what about C? It's not just a food, just a friend, but also it's a piece of art. Yes, this is also better the others. Besides a duck, D says, besides a duck is a food, it's also a friend, a piece of art, a sign, a message, a letter to be read. Yes. So, to be a sign literate person, yes, sign literate person, we should have a perspective as in D. Yes, D perspective. Okay. Now, again, I think they are both reading and repeating. Scientific perspective, emotional perspective, behavioral perspective, ethical perspective, diplomatic perspective, cognitive perspective, humanistic perspective, mindful perspective. For example, uh, you have you have a mindful perspective. Congratulations, yes. All we need is right perspectives, positive perspectives. Now, this is a paragraph, yes, a short essay written by me originally about diplomatic perspective. Yes, one of the beautiful universal human qualities we need today must be diplomacy. One of the few meanings of diplomacy is to be fair, reliable, kind, and virtuous in the light of experience. The opposite of diplomatic is tactless. Yes, tactful is a synonym for diplomatic, tactful person. For example, Alex is a tactful person. Alex is a diplomatic person, but the opposite is tactless. A diplomat is also a democrat, not an autocrat. Their approach is more or less as follows. For example, a diplomat says, I will tell you what is in my heart, still do what you want, what you know. Every individual's opinion is valuable. Agreed decisions, co-decisions are always at the forefront. Persuasion is essential. Yeah, this is a sentence of a diplomat. For example, you cannot hear that kind of sentence from an autocrat. A diplomat looks at things and events from the perspective of truth. The needle of the point of view is always in the direction of balance and harmony. When it comes to being a diplomat, the first qualities that come to mind are understanding and not hurting or annoying others. Considerate, yes, to be understanding, to be considerate. If the rights and interests of others are damaged, violated, they cannot rejoice in their own rights and interests. According to a diplomat, justice, well-being, happiness, peace, and tranquility are lived, experienced together. In fact, seeing others in peace makes him or her or them happier. Their perspective on what's going on is a diplomatic perspective, like a fine-tuned scale indicator. If dervishes, brave hearts, and if dervishes, mystics, Sufis, brave hearts, and dervish veterans of the past were alive today, we would be diplomats. Sorry, they would be diplomats, and we would witness, observe the delicacy of behavior we need. As an example, okay, viewing nature and happenings around us from an artistic perspective by ChatGPT. From an artistic perspective, nature becomes a canvas and events transform into stories waiting to be told. Colors, shapes, and emotions blend, producing a unique and captivating visual narrative. So we know that nature is beautiful, but when we look, or if we look through the eyes of an artist, we we enjoy, yes, we enjoy the beauty of them more. Yeah, they trigger, artists trigger the sense of beauty in our psychological uh, world. Yeah, so we need them. We need those sentimental and uh, beauty-loving artists. Okay. Viewing nature and happenings around us from an ethical perspective by ChatGPT. Through an ethical lens, nature and events invite contemplation of responsible choices. That perspective attracts our attention to responsibility, to make responsible choices. Yes. A commitment to harmonious coexistence emerges, urging us to consider the impact of our actions on the environment and preserving the environment, the beauty of the environment. So, by means of that perspective, we feel the awareness of sustaining the beauties in the nature. Now this is the last question to ChatGPT. Can scientific, artistic, and ethical perspectives cohere? Yes, certainly. One can harmoniously, coherently blend the scientific, artistic, and ethical perspectives when viewing nature and events. Scientific understanding gives us information, knowledge. Artistic appreciation enriches, enhances, beautifies, and ethical consideration guide responsible engagement, forming a comprehensive, sophisticated approach that fosters a deeper connection with the world around us. So we really need that deeper connection with the world around us, and it seems that it will actualize by means of awareness and responsibility provided by an ethical perspective. Yeah, this is all for now, and see you next time. So I wish you a good day. Bye for now.